Now in this life, we know that when things go wrong, they go very wrong. Yeah. Some Africans normally say, tabu ikikuja inaitana, which means that when a problem comes, before it arrives, it goes calling all the other problems so that they arrive together or almost at the same time. Now, this is quite an accurate way to describe the current regime. Okay? This is not fake news. This is not propaganda. This is not invented news. But if you read Kenyan news, you will get this impression immediately. It is obvious. Now, there are very many Kenyans who do not believe that the support of the UDA party deep in the Rift Valley is waning. In fact, it is not there. There are so many people who do not believe this. They believe that this is Chris Kumekucha propaganda or Azimio propaganda. But just a few hours ago, I received information from a Rift Valley insider. Yeah. He told me something that I did not want to believe. He told me what people on the ground are saying about the UDA government and its leader. And I'm afraid I cannot repeat that here. But in a nutshell, it was a statement of ill will towards the UDA government and its leader. And remember, not from an Azimio stronghold. No! Not from Raila Odinga supporters. No! It is from the bedrock, the bedroom of UDA support that this statement is coming from. And I asked this insider, why are people talking like that? And his response, people are fed up. And it appears that the last nail on the coffin that has made people just more than fed up is this fertilizer manenos. Yeah, this fake fertilizer. You know, people received subsidized fertilizer, yeah, from the government that turned out to have a lot of stones in it. In other words, the NPK fertilizer that you're supposed to put on the ground and it melts was being put on the ground by farmers and not melting, not working. In other words, it was a con. Farmers were conned. Now, remember, because I'd forgotten this, where do the major farmers in the country called Kenya come from? Where do they come from? They come from the Rift Valley. But there's something else here much more important and much more instructive. And we will discover this other something by asking a simple question. Why and how did this happen? Okay? Now, you know, we have some people in our country, unfortunately too many of them, who want to make money too quickly. And so, you get one bag of maize, and you tell yourself, I'm going to get only 3,000 shillings from this bag of maize. And therefore, what do? You do some magic to make 4 bags of maize. How do you do it? You fill a bag with pebbles, stones, and then you put a little maize on the sides and at the top. And you produce 4 bags of maize. And you make 12,000 Kenya shillings instead of 3,000 Kenya shillings. This is precisely what happened with the fertilizer. And so, you have a government which is already limping from crisis to crisis. But then there are few people within that government who see one bag of maize or one bag of fertilizer and they decide to do some magic, in quotes, and turn that one bag of fertilizer into 4, yeah, and therefore make more money. It is called greed, ulafi in Kiswahili. And you're a supporter of that government, maybe you're even a politician, but your greed blocks your thinking. It does not allow you to realize that the people who will be most affected are your very own people, are your bedroom of support, are your bedrock of support for your political party, which is badly needed. Things are not going okay. Friends, that is precisely what happened with the fake fertilizer, manenos. The government has now suspended the distribution of this NPK fertilizer to farmers under the subsidy program, which, by the way, was one of the very few so-called successes of this particular administration. Now that one is poof, gone, okay, leaving 0 successes. Okay, but let us stay on point. The main issue here was that English word, greed. Now if you look right across the UDA Kenya Kwanza government, you will find that this precise situation has been replicated right across the board. Where things have gone very wrong, you can be sure it is greed. You remember the examination fiasco, where people got the wrong results? It was greed. Remember the government-to-government deal? It was greed. Yeah. Instead of somebody being content, satisfied with making 1 shilling, 2 shillings, or even 5 shillings maximum from every liter of fuel Kenyans buy, somebody wanted to make 50, 40, 30 Kenya shillings from every single liter of fuel that is purchased in the country called Kenya. And of course they tried the same thing for a neighboring country. And a man called Kaguta Yoweri Museveni said, no, that will not be possible. You know the story. Greed is what is going to bring down this government. Greed. We all know the story of the hyena who smelt meat in 2 different locations, and wanted to make sure that he got meat at both locations. And therefore they ended up in a situation where they had to split their body into 2, and as a result, that fisi, that hyena, died and missed both pieces of meat that they were smelling. Because the mess that greed leaves behind is usually irreparable. Take the fertilizer maneno for instance. Time waits for no man. And therefore any replacement of this fake fertilizer will not arrive on time for farmers to use for planting. And that of course will affect the harvest. The government-to-government oil deal has caused havoc on the Kenyan economy. People have lost jobs. Companies have closed. Foreign investors have fled the country called Kenya. That is irreparable damage. And so, even if the deal stops tomorrow, the damage has already been done. Greed. That is our biggest problem in the country called Kenya today. And remember, it is not that these people are not clever people. The issue here is that when greed kicks in, the brains take a holiday. When you fill that bag with stones and you put a little maize at the top and then sell it to somebody, your brain is on holiday, and therefore you don't realize, you don't stop to think. Your conscience is not even working to remember that that person who buys this bag of maize with the last hard-earned money they had will not be able to feed their family. And therefore some children will go hungry. Some children may even grow so hungry that they'll get sick. And others, God forbid, may even lose their lives. That does not cross your mind, because your brain has gone on holiday. It has been chased away by this monster called greed. You know, during the electioneering period leading up to the 2022 general elections, we called the other side of the political divide, which was supposed to be Kenya Kwanza, people called them Kumekucha. And people laughed. It was a joke that was very funny. However, now nobody's laughing, because the reality of Kumekucha maneno is sinking in, and it is not funny. There's nothing to laugh about there. It is just tragic. And I also strongly recommend a special offer available only for the next 48 hours strictly, of 2 highly sensitive special reports. You can see details on your screens right now. The Monster Ruto, Kenyans will never really know. And the second one, Unimaginable server secrets, that cover a lot of real life situations, real life events, real life political events, described in great detail, a majority of them not in the public domain. That will help you bring all this together very neatly so that you understand. And my special offer is that these 2 highly sensitive reports, the 2 of them are available for the price of only one, for only Kenya shillings 3,999. Now, of course, these highly sensitive reports were available only to very few people, and we did not reach the small audience target we had for both, and therefore I've decided for only 48 hours we will try to do that through this very special offer. Please take full advantage of it. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.